Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Charles Taylor with the organization here in Mississippi and Louisiana called One Voice. We do a lot of public policy work, and most of it is centered around education. I want to talk to you briefly about Initiative 42. In 1997, our state legislators adopted an equitable formula to fully fund our public schools. Unfortunately, 19 years later, they have only fully funded that formula twice. And so when you talk about the underfunding of education in the state of Mississippi year after year, typically it's about $300 million a year. Specifically looking at Jackson Public Schools, in the last 6 years alone, they have been underfunded by $98.6 million. When we talk about the number of $98.6 million, this could have paid for 287 school teachers to have a 10-year career in the district, and 268 school counselors could have had a 10-year career in the district. 328,000 computers could have been bought. 1,039 school buses, and one issue that's really important in Jackson Public Schools is textbooks. That $98.6 million could have paid for 986,000 textbooks. Unfortunately, since our state legislators year after year have decided to underfund education, there have been many groups in the state who have gone down, lobbied, and advocate, and then would come back with underfunding. Part of my testimony will be in concert with Destiny's testimony, looking at some of the school districts in the Mississippi Delta and why it's such a need for educational funding. She mentioned Gentry High School. I just wanted to add one other thing I noticed as going on a tour in Gentry High School. The day we went, the principal showed us around along with the school board president, and it was raining. And he would mention how in going certain parts of the school, the students would have to, the teachers would put down wooden pallets from the forklifts, and the students would have to walk over it in order to walk to classrooms in the congested hallways outside. And looking at Carroll County, which is also in the Mississippi Delta, just in recent years, where they would do the pre-testing for their students was in a room in August with no air conditioning. So you can imagine how well a student could perform on a test, and it's 90 to 100 degrees outside, and they're in a room with no air conditioning, and they have to perform on this test. It saddens me to say that because our state legislators would not fully fund education, a group came together with a concept, and they decided to put this issue on the ballot. So from that, we convened a group of civil rights leaders, former Supreme Court justices, and other stakeholders to answer three main questions. Would it be legal to put this issue on the ballot? Was there public will? And did we have the financial resources in order to support the campaign? It came back to yes, it would be illegal to amend the state constitution to force the legislators to fully fund education and make it a fundamental right in the state of Mississippi. With the issue of public will, we engaged the Feldman Group, which is pollsters out of Washington, D.C. They did a poll that came back to 67% of Mississippians did support the issue of full funding of education. And lastly, there were foundations and other high wealth individuals who were very eager and interested in supporting an initiative that would do such. So from there, we began to form, we petitioned, and we were assigned the number Initiative 42. We started collecting signatures. In the state of Mississippi, in order to put an issue on the ballot, you must collect 14% of the people who voted in the last gubernatorial election. That number of people must sign the petition. For 2011, that number was 7,216. So we had a goal of collecting 200,000 signatures. We collected nearly 189,000 signatures in about 5 months. This is more signatures collected for any other initiative in the history of the state of Mississippi. After we collected those signatures and the Secretary of State put the issue on the ballot, state legislators, or shall I say a certain faction of our legislators, decided to propose our alternative language to go alongside the Initiative 42 language. The reason why they wanted to do this was to cause voter confusion. Instead of just a simple up and down ballot, do you want to fully fund education, for instance, yes or no, it became a two-part ballot. First, you had to answer the question of whether you wanted to amend the state constitution. Then you had to decide whether you wanted to choose the original Initiative 42 language or the alternative language. So we knew that we had to aggressively educate the voters at this point. There was grassroots movements all over the state of Mississippi, particularly in communities of color. But the strategy for white communities was more of a top-down strategy, which was unsuccessful. And so there's not a strong history of grassroots organizing in white communities in Mississippi. And I would testify that because of that, we lost this by a small margin. I think less than 30,000 votes. Thank you.